everybody. It's Michelle and Dave, and we are now on day
number 8.
Woohoo!
We're doing good. We're rocking it.
So today, I get a share. And did you want to ask me a question?
So, how would you describe your probably greatest aha of life?
Ooh, great question. So glad you asked. If I had to describe, this is actually a beautiful one. It's a powerful one. My biggest aha in my whole entire life came when I was probably 28, 29.
Okay.
And I was living in Dallas, Texas. And I was a part of a church up there. And I was going to Bible college. And had been a Christian for about 8 years. And this pastor comes through town, and he wanted to share a message with the worship team, and I sang on the worship team, and he's like, I want to share with you something about worship. I'm like, okay, great. We're all like, yay, whatever that is. And we're excited. So what is your big revelation? And his big thing was like, he had one question for us, and that one question was, what do you believe pleases God the most? Did you get that?
Yeah.
What
pleases God the most?
What do you think pleases God the most? We're like, okay, great. Well,
good question, I guess.
Yeah. And so we're all throwing out scriptures and being super spiritual, and without faith, it's impossible to please God, or obedience.
Winning souls.
I know, obedience over sacrifice,
yes.
and all of that.
All
and
those things that
he's like, yeah, I'm sure those are really good. I'm sure those are really. I'm sure it pleases God. Sure, absolutely. Why not? Sounds good. He says, but what do you think pleases him the most? Okay. We're like, okay, what is your big, we're like, okay, we give up. What's your big, profound revelation that pleases God the most? He says, it's really simple. And he says, it's believing that he loves you. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, yeah, I know that. I'm like, what? He's like, no. He says, it's believing. It's truly believing that he loves you. And
like, okay, we all know God loves us, though.
Well,
so
right.
What are you saying? What was different about this?
And that's what I thought, too. He put it in this kind of context. He's like, have you ever tried to love someone so much, and they were resistant to your love, and you knew this could be an amazing love story, but they would resist and wouldn't receive your love? He says, whether it be parents or a sibling, a boyfriend, girlfriend, a spouse, a friend who you knew that you wanted to share some amazing love with, but it would be limited, and they wouldn't receive it.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah, I've been looking for that love my whole life, or trying to give love for many years. At the time I was still single. Yeah. And so I was looking for this love. Yeah. But it was really believing that he's in love with you. Like not just believing it, but it's actually. But the key factor, it was going from my head to my heart.
Yeah.
So it was actually not just, and I knew God loved me, but the crazy thing, I did not like the song that was called I Can Sing of Your Love Forever. Because it would just repeat, I could sing of your love forever. And I'm like, no.
It's really receiving it, not just believing in your head, but more receiving it in your heart.
Right.
Like, hey, I love you unconditionally. Right.
And to know that God was crazy in love with me, and not just knowing that, but really asking him and letting him love me. That was the key thing, is really letting God love me and lavish me with his love. And it wasn't a religious thing. It wasn't a go to church, this happens at church. It wasn't read my Bible. It was just standing in a prayerful way and asking God, or telling God, or inviting God. Saying, okay, I love me. Just love me, and I'll receive your love. And I'm sorry, and forgive me for not receiving and pushing away your love in my life. And in that moment, in that day, that next course of the next couple of days, it was just the most powerful experiences with the love of God that I've ever. I'm like, oh, this is what God means about I love you. And now even
now that you have children, you understand love, that it's not based upon any kind of condition that they do or don't do.
Right.
Like we get that but you weren't a parent at the time.
Right.
So you didn't have that experience of having a child that you just love because.
Right.
Just because. Just because
I love you.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because we have one of our sons. He resists. He's so cute. He is a mama's boy, and he receives all of my love and gives me loads of love, but he's resistant to Dave's love. I think because he thinks he'll love me less, which is not true. If he shares love. And so it's hard seeing him push away, push him away, and call
or
names and be goofy and not receive.
Just not receive
Dave's love, which is like, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Powerful.
Except for the little note he gave me the other day.
However, yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Which we know he loves you. We know that. So I think that's my big aha in my life, is believing and receiving and letting God love me.
So removing all conditions.
Right.
Just letting it
stop
be
performing
a truth that transforms your whole life, thing, from the inside out.
Right. And that's what I think.
Nothing to do with the externals, what you do, what we need to do, what we're expected to do. It's just fully embracing, I am loved.
And because I let God love me, I've learned to really love myself.
Yeah.
And then I'm able to really love others in such an amazing way. So that's, I guess, my big aha of my whole life. And from that moment, I can really tell that is my life mission. If anything about Michelle's life, if anybody would ever want to know, is like, I want people to know how much God is crazy, madly in love with you. He's not mad at you. He's mad about you.
I love that. Yeah.
So.
And it's so funny because over the years we've coached people, and you could tell that was an issue they were still struggling with. Like, it was all about performance, all about trying to figure out how to get love or how to deserve it. And when you tell this story, so many times people go, oh wow, so I just got to receive it? Like, I just got to accept that? Like, take it on for me? And I think that's a big challenge for a lot of people.
So that's my big aha in my whole entire life. That's the biggest one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Well, I hope that helps me. I mean, every time I hear it, it just reminds me. I think that's a big thing. I think a lot of us just need to be reminded of that truth. We miss it sometimes. We get caught up in performance.
Right.
Trying to please.
So if you haven't, or maybe you have, or you don't have to be a Christian or non-Christian or whatever, it's just like letting God love you.
Yeah.
And I think that's my big aha in my life. So grateful, so freeing. And
And I love you.
I love you. Mwah. My heart. Yay. So there you have it. Go love. Let love in.
Love big.
Let love in your life, and love yourself. Let God love you and lavish you, and be in it and soak in it, and be uncomfortable if it feels uncomfortable. Just receive it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do the heart thing.
I practiced.
He's practiced because the boy says your heart is like stinky. Is a heart on the other end? Let me see it.
Yeah,
Let me
see?
it. Oh yay! You did. We heart you. We love you.
Love you.
Love you. Heart bump. Heart bump. Boop.
Now she's asking for it.
So dorky. Anyway, but we love you. Bye.
It's just this jacket. I need to not put them all around you.
Why don't you zip the jacket?
No, then it's goofy. Who zips their jacket?
When it's 50 below outside. I don't know.
50 below? Seriously?
Well,
we're like above 50.
We are not.
We're about 50.
No, we're not. This is not 50. This is like 40, 38.
Check your phone. Check your phone.
Just so you told, it is 37.
It's 37?
It's 37.
No wonder.
I know. No one zips their coat. I have gloves on.
We're day 8.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Let's not talk about the weather.
Okay.
It's nice and chilly.
Yes. Which one is it?
Well, I was gonna say, I just want to bring it for this cold. I didn't want to.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't like, let's don't
Okay.
compare it to everyone else.
Okay.
That part of it. Sorry.